Yo, what if we told you that the clean-cut, poetic, Pulitzer-winning rapper Kendrick Lamar got some skeletons in the closet that would shock even his Day One fans? Yeah, we're tacking hidden beef, secret family drama, and allegations that could flip the whole Mr. Morale image upside down, while the world sees Kendrick as the conscious king of hip-hop. Moving in silence, focused on the art and duckin' industry drama behind the scenes, it's a whole different story. Word on the street is, Kendrick's been keeping a dark truth tucked away for years, one that's been bubbling under the surface, just waiting to explode. Why did his own cousin put him on blast in a now-deleted IG Live? What really happened between him and Top Dawg that almost shut down his album release? And why are longtime Compton homies saying Kendrick ain't been real since Damn dropped? Fans are shook, insiders are whispering, and the Lamar family divided like never before. This ain't just rap beef. This is personal. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear might just change how you see Kendrick forever. Stay locked in, because the story they didn't want getting out. And it's about to get real messy. For years, Kendrick Lamar has been the mystery man of hip-hop. Quiet, focused, always moving with intention. No scandal, no wild interviews, no flashy beefs. Just bars, vision, and Grammy stages. But if you think that's the full picture, you might be in for a rude awakening. Because lately, the street's been talking. And what they're saying, it's starting to paint a very different story. A story of betrayal, silence, and a side of Kendrick we were never supposed to see. It all started with a leaked voice note. Out of nowhere, a short clip popped up on a burner page on Twitter, just a few seconds long. But what it said had fans shook. A voice sounding a lot like Kendrick was heard saying, "Nah, he crossed the line. I don't owe nobody nothing, family or not." Nobody knew who he was, but the internet started digging. And fast. Within hours, fans traced the audio back to a FaceTime screen recording that allegedly came from someone in Kendrick's circle. And the name that kept coming up, Baby Keem. Now hold up. To the outside world, Kendrick and Baby Keem are thick as thieves, cousins, collaborators, even business partners on PG Lang. They're supposed to be locked in. But behind closed doors, the bond might be more broken than anybody realized. According to one insider, someone who used to be part of PG Lang's early creative team, the tension between Kendrick and Keem had been building for months before that voice note leaked. Apparently, it all started over money. Keem, who had started getting his own shine with Melodic Blue and features with Travis and Don Toliver, Legedly, felt like Kendrick was holding him back. Said he wasn't getting the respect or support he deserved from the label. He even threatened to walk away and sign with a rival label unless things changed. But here's where it gets deeper. The insider claimed that Keem confronted Kendrick during a private team meeting in Los Angeles. Not only did he accuse him of being selfish and controlling, but he also brought up old family drama. Apparently, Keem called out Kendrick for turning his back on the family ever since he blew up. One person in the room said emotions ran high. Kendrick stood up, looked Keem dead in the eye and said, "I made sure y'all ate. Don't act like I ain't build this from the dirt." After that, he walked out. No words, just silence. Fans had no idea all this was going down behind the scenes. To them, Kendrick and Keem were just two kings pushing culture forward. But now, people started questioning everything. Especially when Baby Keem posted a cryptic tweet just days later. Blood don't always mean loyalty. He deleted it in under 10 minutes. But the damage was done. Then came the IG Live. In a moment that felt like reality TV gone wrong. Kendrick's older cousin, a man known in Compton as Man, went live and exposed even more. "Y'all worship Kendrick like he Jesus," he said. "But he ain't been back to the hood in years. Ain't did nothing for his own people. He got rich and ghosted everybody." Viewers were stunned. This wasn't a troll or some random clout chaser. This was blood. Someone who grew up with Kendrick. Man went on to say that there were people in the family struggling. And Kendrick had the power to help, but chose to stay distant. "He ain't who y'all think he is. Man said, "He just know how to play quiet." Within minutes, the live ended. The account was gone. But of course, screen recordings went viral. And suddenly, a dark cloud started forming around Kendrick's image. The media didn't pick it up right away, but fans were in full detective mode. Reddit threads exploded. TikTok theories were everywhere. People started pulling old interviews, dissecting lyrics, looking for clues. Some even brought up Kendrick's 2017 interview where he said, "I keep my circles small. Family don't mean much if they only bringing weight." At the time, folks thought it was just general talk. Now, it sounded like a warning shot. But the real twist came when Top Dawg Kendrick's former label boss broke his silence. Out of nowhere, Top posted a photo on Instagram. No caption. Just a picture of him and Keem at a dinner table, both laughing. Fans immediately saw it as a shot, like he was picking a side. And that's when the rumors started spiraling. People started asking, did Kendrick leave Teed on bad terms? Was Baby Keem caught in the middle of a silent war? And what about Pidgelang, the label he built to escape the industry system? Was it already crumbling from within? A source close to Teed told us that Kendrick's departure from the label wasn't as smooth as the public thought. They made it look clean, the source said. But behind closed doors, it was tension, egos, disagreements about rollouts, money, loyalty. The source went on to say that Kendrick's decision to take Baby Keem with him caused major waves. Some at Teed felt betrayed, especially since Keem had been getting mentorship from producers and execs within the label. It was like Kendrick pulled the rug out from under them, the source explained. He built something new but stepped on the old crew to do it. And then came the most shocking part, the alleged audio leak of a heated phone call between Kendrick and Top. While the authenticity hasn't been confirmed, fans believe the voice on the tape is Top, accusing Kendrick of being greedy and forgetting who made you. In the clip, you hear a calm voice, supposedly Kendrick, saying, "I had to grow. I'm not going to stay somewhere that don't align with my spirit no more." Then the voice gets sharper. "You said you wanted me to fly? Now, you mad I got wings?" Again, nobody confirmed the tape, but fans ran wild with it. Memes, TikToks, even rap blogs picked it up. Suddenly, Kendrick wasn't just the conscious artist. He was the center of a family and industry fallout. And just when things were calming down a little, things took another turn. Because out of nowhere, a former childhood friend, someone who went to school with Kendrick back in Compton, dropped a podcast episode, claiming that Kendrick had rebranded his whole past and left out the real pain he caused. The friend, who goes by Rico West, said everybody loved the poetic version of Kendrick. But they don't know the dude who bullied kids in middle school. The dude who switched up once the fame hit. He cut off people who was down for him when he had nothing. Rico went on to say that Kendrick used to come to Cypher, steal bars, and then act like he wrote M first. "Don't let that quiet vibe fool you," he warned. Kendrick got a chessboard mind. He always 5 steps ahead. That's why nobody can pin him down. He'll make you think he's the victim while he moving like a king behind the curtain. By this point, fans didn't know what to believe. Some still defended Kendrick to the death. Others started second-guessing everything they thought they knew. The comment sections were lit up with debates. Is Kendrick a genius just protecting his peace? Or a calculated puppet master using silence as a mask? But one thing was clear, that Kendrick Lamar the world thought they knew might not be the full story. And just when we thought the dust was settling, Baby Keem popped back up. And this time, he wasn't silent no more. Baby Keem popped back up on the timeline with a message that had the whole internet scrambling. No caption, no explanation, just a black and white photo of him standing alone on a rooftop, wearing a hoodie that said, "Blood made me, but pain raised me." It was subtle, but powerful. Fans instantly took it as a shot. And the comments? Pure chaos. Some said he was standing 10 toes down. Others begged him to squash whatever was going on behind the scenes. But Keem didn't respond. He let the silence do the talking. But 2 days later, he finally broke it on a surprise Twitch stream, which he never does. Baby Keem went live for less than 20 minutes. The mood was heavy, the chat was going wild, but Keem stayed cool. He didn't name names, but what he said had people connecting dots real quick. "Sometimes the people you love the most," he said, staring straight at the camera, "be the first to use you. Then they'll gaslight you like you trippin' for speaking up." He paused, looked down, then added, "I ain't never needed no one to give me a voice. I just needed M not to block mine." The stream cut off after that. Fans were left stunned. Was he accusing Kendrick of trying to silence him? Was he saying Kendrick used him to build PG Long and then iced him out when he started shining on his own? The speculation was nonstop. And just when it couldn't get any crazier, someone from PG Lang's internal team leaked an alleged contract. We can't confirm if the doc was real, but here's what it supposedly showed. Keem's deal with PG Lang gave Kendrick creative control over all of Keem's music until 2025, including which songs could drop, which features were approved, and even control over his touring schedule. And guess what? That might explain why Keem's been so quiet this year. No album, no features, nothing. If the contract was real, it meant Keem was legally locked in, unable to move unless Kendrick gave the green light. Fans started crying foul. "This ain't family. This is prison," one user wrote on Twitter. Another said he signed to his cousin just to get shelved like a regular industry artist. Now the whole narrative was shifting. Kendrick, who once warned about the dangers of the music industry in songs like Institutionalized and How Much a Dollar Cost, was now being accused of doing the same thing he spoke out against. The hypocrisy had fans questioning everything. But then, the plot thickened even more. A mysterious burner account on Instagram posted a clip of a private birthday party held in Calabasas, one where both Kendrick and Keem were in attendance. The video was shaky, taken from behind a curtain, but what it showed had jaws-dropping dot in the clip. You see Kendrick standing off to the side while Keem is in a heated argument with another man. It's hard to hear at first, but then Keem's voice gets louder. "He left mama crying, and now y'all want to act like that's okay?" The man he's arguing with tries to calm him down. But Keem pushes his hand away, and then out of nowhere, Kendrick walks over and grabs Keem by the arm, whispering something in his ear. Keem jerks away and says, "Don't touch me, bro." "You fake, and you know it." The whole room gets quiet. People start pulling out their phones. The video ends there. Fans went wild. Who was Keem talking about? Whose mama was he referring to? What did Kendrick whisper in his ear that set him off like that? We did some digging and found out something even crazier. Allegedly, Keem's mom, who was Kendrick's auntie by blood, had reached out to Kendrick for financial help. Earlier this year, after a medical emergency, sources say Kendrick didn't respond. Not a text, not a call, nothing. And when Keem found out, it broke him. One insider close to the family said, "That's when things really changed." Keem was done pretending. He felt like Kendrick had completely abandoned them. And suddenly, everything started making sense. The tension, the silence, the contract, the outbursts. It wasn't just business. It was personal. Real personal. But wait, it gets darker. Because around this same time, anonymous source claiming to be a former assistant at TDE started spilling even more tea. They reached out to a hip-hop blog with receipts, old emails, scheduling docs, and screenshots, all suggesting that Kendrick had been planning his exit from TDE for years, but kept it quiet while still collecting checks and favors from the label. The assistant claimed that Kendrick used the resources of TDE to build PG Lang in secret, even using TDE interns and creatives, without ever telling Top or Punch. And when they finally found out, that's when the bridge burned. The assistant even claimed that one of the reasons for Kendrick's sudden disappearance from social media was to avoid being subpoenaed. In an ongoing financial dispute between TDE and a PG Long vendor. Now again, we don't know if all that's true, but the timing, suspicious. And just when the streets thought they had the full picture, another old friend of Kendrick's came forward. This time a woman named Renee, who went to high school with him. She hopped on a podcast and shared a story that had fans gasping. "I used to love K-Dot," she said. "Back in the day, he was funny, quiet, humble. But the minute he got signed, something changed. He stopped coming around, stopped answering people. Then I found out from his cousin that he was telling people I was a clout chaser. Like, bro, we went to prom together." When asked if she ever confronted him, Renee said she tried twice. Once backstage after a show and another time outside a family function. "Both times he acted like he didn't know me," she said. "Like I was just some fan." That hurt more than anything. Fans couldn't believe it. Kendrick has always been seen as someone who stayed grounded, never got caught up in fame. But now, the people who knew him before the fame were saying otherwise. And whether it was jealousy, hurt, or facts, it didn't matter. The perception was cracking, but the final blow came from an unlikely source. J-Rock, one of Kendrick's oldest collaborators and Teed label mates, posted a simple tweet that said, "Sometimes the ones you helped the most be the first to flip. No S, no hashtags." But everyone knew who it was about. One fan replied, "You talking about Kendrick?" And J-Rock liked the tweet. Now the entire rap world was watching. What started as a quiet cousin feud had snowballed into a full-blown expose of Kendrick Lamar's private world. Family tension, label betrayal, legal drama. The man who once said, "I'm not industry," was now caught in one of the most industry-looking dramas we've seen in years. And yet, Kendrick said nothing, no tweets, no statements, no interviews, just silence. But in that silence came more noise, more accusations, more leaks. Because while the world waited for Kendrick to respond, someone else was getting ready to speak, and what she had to say would turn this whole story upside down. The woman who came forward wasn't just anybody. She wasn't a rapper, a label exec, or a bitter ex looking for clout. She was someone the public had never heard from before. But to those who really know Kendrick, she was part of the story long before the fame ever came. Her name is Tasha. She's in her early 30s, works in education, and up until now had stayed completely silent. No interviews, no posts, nothing. But after seeing how messy things were getting with family calling Kendrick out, Baby Keem throwing subtle shots, and fans digging into his past, she finally broke her silence. And what she shared had the internet on fire in a nearly hour-long interview on a low-key podcast called Backroom Confessions. Tasha told her story calmly, but with pain in her voice. She said she met Kendrick when they were both teenagers at a community youth poetry event in Watts. He wasn't famous back then, she said. He was just Kenny, shy, quiet, but his words were deep. What started as friendship, she explained, turned into something more. They kept things low-key. No pictures, no public moments. According to Tasha, Kendrick was already preparing himself for fame. He always told me people don't need to know everything. Something's sacred, she recalled. But that sacred bond eventually broke when he dropped Section 80. Things started changing, Tasha said. He stopped answering calls, started disappearing for days. And when he did call, it was always like he wasn't really there, like his mind was somewhere else. She says they drifted apart for a while until one night in 2013, just after Kendrick dropped Good Kid M.A.A.D City. He flew her out to Atlanta, where he was doing press and meetings. "I thought maybe we were going to reconnect," she said. "But when I got there, he barely spent time with me. He kept me hidden, like he was ashamed." And then came the part that made fans' jaws drop. "When I got back home," Tasha said, holding back tears, "I found out I was pregnant." Yep, she claims she had a child, a son, and that Kendrick knows. According to her, she reached out to him multiple times. No response. Eventually, she said she got contacted by someone from Kendrick's legal team, asking her to sign an NDA in exchange for a small settlement, which she refused. "I don't want money," she said. "I wanted my son to know his father. But they made me feel like I was just a liability, like my baby didn't matter." The podcast episode dropped late at night, but within hours, clips went viral. Fans were stunned. Kendrick, a secret child, ghosting the mother. That didn't sound like the man they idolized, the one who always rapped about loyalty, legacy, and staying grounded. But it didn't end there. Just a day after Tasha's interview aired, a document surfaced online, a supposed paternity test request filed in Los Angeles County back in 2015. The names were blurred, but the timelines and details matched everything Tasha had said, and fans started connecting even more dots. Suddenly, lyrics from Kendrick's older songs started sounding different. One line in You, Loving You is Complicated started trending as fans speculated whether it was about Tasha, or maybe even the son he allegedly refused to acknowledge. And while Kendrick remained silent, the tension in his circle was reaching a boiling point. Baby Keem once again returned to Twitter, and this time, he didn't hold back. He tweeted, "Family ain't about hiding truth. It's about showing up when it matters most." Some saw it as a shot at Kendrick. Others said it was a show of support for Tasha. Either way, it was clear Keem was no longer playing the quiet cousin role. He was calling things out, raw and unfiltered. And then, for the first time in months, Kendrick's fiancée Whitney posted on Instagram. Just a black square. No caption. But the timing. Chilling. Fans had questions. Did Whitney know about the alleged child? Had Kendrick hidden this from her too? Or was this all some coordinated smear campaign against one of the most private men in music? But then came another twist nobody expected. Top Dog. Yes, that Top Dog finally gave an interview. Sitting down with a major West Coast radio station, he didn't hold back. "Look, man," he said, "I ain't here to bash nobody. But what I will say is, everybody got demons, even the quiet ones." When asked directly about the drama with Kendrick, he paused for a moment before replying. He left the label. Yeah, but he left people too. People who rode for him. People who kept him grounded. And when you turn your back on that, eventually it catches up. He didn't mention the child, the Keem drama, or the leaked contracts. But the tone in his voice said enough. Then, in the final moments of the interview, Top dropped a bombshell. "I got love for K. Always will. But sometimes the person you helped build gotta burn bridges just to prove they don't need you no more." And that was it. Now fans weren't just questioning Kendrick's family loyalty. They were questioning his moral compass. The image of the poetic prophet, the savior of hip-hop, was starting to crumble. Not because of one scandal, but because of a pattern. A growing list of people close to him, all saying the same thing. He switched up, but just when things felt like they couldn't get worse. They did. A leaked email surfaced from someone claiming to be part of Kendrick's current MGMT team. The email, allegedly sent to a media outlet, requested that they not publish speculative content regarding Mr. Lamar's personal affairs and offered an exclusive interview in exchange for silence. This immediately sparked outrage online. Fans said it was censorship, damage control, a desperate move to stop the bleeding before it got worse. So now he trying to control the narrative. One tweet read, "Kendrick ain't no different than the rest of these industry cats. And remember Tasha? After staying silent for nearly a decade, she now had the world's attention. And she wasn't done. On a follow-up IG Live, she shared photos of her son, a bright-eyed kid with a face that some fans claimed resembled a young Kendrick. "I'm not here to destroy him," she said. "I just want truth, and my son deserves that." The Live had over 200K viewers in real time. People were crying, sending her support, tagging Kendrick, begging for a response. But once again, silence. At this point, even Kendrick's most loyal fans were split. Some said he was just protecting his peace. Others said the silence was a guilty man's shield. One viral tweet read, "Kendrick wrote a whole album about generational trauma and father wounds. And now we find out he might be causing that same pain." The irony was undeniable. The man who gave us albums full of social reflection, spiritual healing, and personal growth was now being painted as a man running from accountability. And still, no official word from him or his team. No official word from him or his team. But while fans were still processing that storm, yet another one was forming, because someone knew. Someone extremely close to Pidgeylong was about to step into the ring. And when he spoke, it exposed a whole different side of the Kendrick story. The man who came forward next wasn't a cousin, an ex, or an angry old friend from Compton. He was someone who fans barely knew by name, but who had been there through the most important years of Kendrick's rise. His name, Malik James. And if you've ever read the fine print on Pidgeylong's early visual releases, you've probably seen his name buried somewhere in the credits. Malik was one of the founding creatives at Pidgeylong. He helped build the visual identity, co-wrote treatments, and even worked on Baby Keem's debut rollout. He wasn't just part of the squad, he was deep in the trenches. And when Malik finally broke his silence in an explosive Reddit Amos-style post that later got deleted. But screen capped in full, he gave the public a peek inside the Pidgeylong empire. And it wasn't pretty. Pidgeylong started out as a dream, Malik wrote. We wanted to change the way art and business work together. Break the system. Be free. And Kendrick. He preached that heavy. But behind the scenes, it was a different kind of machine. Malik claimed that while Kendrick marketed Pidgeylong as an artist-first space, in reality, it was still run like a traditional label, just with prettier branding and more silence. He alleged that contracts were strict, creatives were underpaid, and Kendrick didn't allow anyone to question his decisions. We couldn't challenge anything, he said. It was like walking on eggshells. Even Keem, whose family was getting sidelined. And the worst part? Kendrick wouldn't say anything directly. He'd just disappear. Ghost meetings. Delegate to someone else. Always watching, but never speaking. Malik also confirmed what fans had suspected about Keem being creatively boxed in. He said Keem had big ideas for a second album, one that leaned more into experimental production and personal lyrics. Kendrick allegedly scrapped the direction, calling it unfocused. He told Keem to trust the formula, Malik wrote. But the formula was just doing whatever Kendrick wanted. But it wasn't just about Keem. Malik went even deeper. He claimed Kendrick's shift after leaving Teed wasn't just professional, it was spiritual. According to Malik, Kendrick became obsessed with control. He stopped listening, stopped laughing. Everything became about legacy, image, symbolism, like he was more focused on how he'd be remembered than how he was living. And then came the most damning line in the whole post. Kendrick doesn't care about people anymore. He cares about his myth. Boom. Those words echoed across social media like a bullet. Fans couldn't believe it. The man they saw as humble and grounded was now being described as cold, distant, and obsessed with control. And guess what? Malik didn't stop there. He also claimed Kendrick was very aware of the baby mama rumors. And not only did he know, but he allegedly paid someone to monitor Tasha's social media and report back. He didn't want to engage publicly, Malik wrote. He just wanted to know if she was making noise. That line alone triggered massive backlash. How you preach accountability and self-reflection, one fan tweeted. But you hiding behind lawyers and surveillance? Tasha herself went live again after Malik's post and said it only confirmed what she already knew. He's been hiding from his own reflection, she said. But the truth always finds its way. The whole thing had become bigger than just Kendrick and Keem. It was now a storm involving family, faith, money, legacy, and truth. And the fans. They were more divided than ever before. Some stood by Kendrick, saying the attacks were orchestrated. One post read, "Y'all trying to destroy the one artist who actually gives us substance? He ain't perfect, but he's real." Others weren't so sure anymore. "Maybe we just got played," one Reddit user wrote. "He sold us growth, but maybe he was just running." Meanwhile, Kendrick's silence continued. Number posts, no tweets. No songs. And then, out of nowhere, a billboard in downtown Los Angeles, right off La Brea. A giant black billboard appeared overnight. Plain white letters, no logo, just the words, "Truth will set you free. But first, it will break you." fans swore it had to be Kendrick. The cryptic language, the biblical tone, it felt like his style. But no one could confirm it. No PG Long logo, no music tied to it, just mystery. Was it a response? A confession. A setup for a new project. Some believed Kendrick was about to drop an album using all this drama as a rollout. Others believed it was his way of taking accountability in his own artistic, indirect way. But whatever it was, it's left people confused. And that's when the real curveball hit. A private voice message was leaked. Allegedly from a WhatsApp chat between Kendrick and one of his spiritual advisors. It's just audio, no video. But the voice is unmistakably Kendrick. He sounds tired, heavy, like he's been carrying something for years. In the clip, he says, "I've been trying to protect the people I love from a version of me that don't exist no more. And in doing that, I lost parts of myself. Maybe all of myself. I don't even know what's real anymore." Then silence. That one leak changed everything again. Fans started rethinking the narrative. Maybe Kendrick was going through something. Maybe all the mistakes, all the coldness, all the silence came from a place of inner struggle, emotional burnout, even guilt. Some began comparing it to other artists who crashed under the weight of fame. Others pointed out the hypocrisy still needed to be addressed. But maybe, just maybe, this wasn't evil. It was human. And as the dust began to settle, one thing became clear. The public had seen behind the curtain now. The Kendrick Lamar we thought we knew, the poetic genius, the humble prophet, the quiet leader had been exposed as complex, conflicted, and deeply flawed. And depending on who you ask, that either made him more real or a master manipulator who sold a lie. And then silence, no follow-up, no confirmation about the billboard, no public statement, just silence. And maybe that silence was the statement. Because at the end of the day, Kendrick Lamar remains an enigma. A man who said more in his silence than most do with albums. But after everything, the family betrayal, the label tensions, the alleged child, and the inner circle fallout, one question remains. Was it all just misunderstood artistry? Or was it the dark truth finally catching up? The fans may never know, but one thing's for sure. The myth of Kendrick Lamar will never be the same again. So now that everything's out there, the cousin drama, the baby mama allegations, the PG Long tension, the old friends turning enemies, and even that haunting voice message, the big question still hangs in the air. Who is Kendrick Lamar? Really? Is he the misunderstood genius, protecting his peace in a world that constantly wants to tear down black men once they rise? Or is he the calculated kingpin behind a well-crafted image using silence, poetry, and spiritual quotes to distract us from the real pain he's caused in the shadows? Fans are left divided. Some say he's healing. Others say he's hiding. But one thing's for sure, this ain't the same. From Section 80. This is a Kendrick who's been through the fire and maybe lit a few flames of his own along the way. But what do you think? Is this all a smear campaign from people who couldn't grow with him? Or has Kendrick really been hiding a darker truth this whole time? Drop your thoughts in the comments, no filter. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss the next deep dive, because trust me, this rabbit hole goes deeper than you think. More receipts, more drama, more real mix fake news coming your way. This is Rap News. Like you've never seen it before. You've been watching the story they don't want you to hear. Now the mic's in your hands. What's your truth? We'll be watching. What's your truth? We'll be watching.